About a week ago, Xbox did an unveiling of all the new games that are going to be coming to the console, and surprisingly, it went pretty good. We got some really good looks at games, with I think the main one that people got really excited about was Gears of War E-Day. People started to do a little dance over that stuff. And it was a very pleasant surprise because for a very long time, people have been, saddened. It's been a dark couple years for the video game industry, but this was something that kind of got everybody to rally and say, this is good. But now it's time to get back to the darkness because I need to talk about something that's been bugging me for a while, and it's something that games need to stop doing because it just upsets me to no end. And that's games that are unveiled when they are nowhere near being done. I said it. They need to stop doing it. And I don't mean just long waits, because long waits happen. It's game production, there's a lot of code, stuff like that happens. I'm talking about games that are announced and are nowhere near being done, or games that are announced to be done at a certain time, and then that time is not met. There are a couple examples that I want to talk about, but games need to stop doing this because it's gotten out of hand. There's three main examples that I want to talk about, two very big games and one kind of smaller game. And I want to start off with the smaller game, and it's a game that I've kind of, for a while, had been keeping my eye on. Not as much anymore, but it's something that, it's starting to peeve me a little bit. And that's the game called Subliminal, and it's a game that has to do with liminal spaces, as you could guess. And it was a game that had a lot of people excited. It had really good graphics, and all the teaser clips and things that we saw indicated that it would be a good game, or at the very least graphically wise. Gameplay, we didn't really get a whole lot, but you can imagine that it has the potential to be a good game. The problem is, this game has one big enemy, and that's itself, because it doesn't exist, and nobody knows where it's at right now. This game was first unveiled on TikTok in late 2022, so not too terribly long ago. So why am I complaining about this? That's not that long of a wait. The problem is that it was announced to be released in spring of 2023. I don't know if you realized, but we are well past spring of 2023. We're now in summer of 2024. And despite that, it looks like the game is nowhere to be found. And the date has been pressed back again and again by very small increments, but at the same time, we haven't really seen a whole lot. What we've seen are just small little clips with, some kind of music in the background. That's about the extent that we saw of that game. But despite that, the game has yet to be released. And it peeves me. Listen, I'm not a coder, I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but if it's nowhere near being done, just say it. Don't give us false hope. If you think it's going to be a while, say it's going to be a while. But don't keep pushing the date and giving us relatively firm dates that you think is going to be out and then not follow through. Because it hurts, it stings, and then people always look back at that date like, oh yeah, should have been out by now, and then it's just not. So stop doing it. But this is something that I can forgive. For two big reasons. One, because they actually showed us at least something of the game while they were going along. And in relative terms, the wait wasn't that long. So, Subliminal, I can forgive you. I can kind of forgive you. I'm trying to forgive you. But there's one thing that I will not forgive, and that's when people just kind of, drop off the face of the earth, and you have no idea where the game's going to be. And these next two games do this to an almost professional degree. But I think nobody does it better than Hytale. Oh yes. Oh, you haven't heard that name in a while, have you? But we're talking about it. It's here. We're talking about it. Hello? So what's the deal with Hytale? I don't know. The trailer for the game dropped in, I believe, 2018. So, it's not 2018. It's 2024, and we have heard little to nothing about it. The trailer was impressive because, at the time, and I think still now, people are getting kind of tired of Minecraft. It's just kind of the same thing, kind of the same gameplay, stuff like that. But Hytale offered something new. It looked better, the combat looked better, it had bosses, like a very wide range of things to do in the game, and adventures to go on, which right now for Minecraft is just kind of lacking. So people were excited for Hytale. The problem is that, one, that was 6 years ago, I think, and we've heard extremely little about it. And the thing that sucks is that they used to have postcards. They used to keep us posted in the very, very early stages back when it was like, oh, getting to the coding, getting to the design. And then for a very, very long time, they just dropped off the face of the earth. And the one thing I will forgive them with is that they decided that they wanted to change to a new engine, so they had to redo everything. And that's fine. If it's going to make the game better, I'm all for it. I have nothing wrong with changing engines. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not the gripe. The gripe is that they did that and then just didn't provide any updates. And right now, the updates that you receive, they're really, really small. And it's to the point now where if you look up Hytale and you look to recent, there's only like a couple channels that are talking about it now because the hype is pretty much dead. It died years ago. And in all fairness to them, I don't even think the wait is their fault. If they're changing to a new engine, that's going to take some time. But at least keep updated with the community that is looking forward to this game, because I think that's something that really shot them in the foot. And as far as I can tell, it's not coming out. It's not coming out anytime soon, maybe even not this year. People keep saying, oh yeah, it's coming out in 2024. But they said that in 2023, 2022, and 2021, and it just didn't happen. So I have no hopes that it's going to come out this year. But at the same time, I can forgive it in a way. Reason being is because they have a reason for the wait. But the last game has no excuse. The last game has had to wait so long. How long ago, you ask? Well, I remember when I first saw the trailer, when I was first made aware of this trailer, I remember I was in high school. I might have been either a freshman or a sophomore, and now I am a senior in college. That's how long the wait was. And I am, of course, talking about the game that just never seems to come out, and I doubt if it even exists. And that, my friends, is Elder Scrolls 6. We're talking about Elder Scrolls 6. Elder Scrolls 6. Because here's the thing, even though Subliminal has a relatively short wait, and with Hytale, even though it's, we don't hear a whole lot, at least in the trailer, we got to see a lot of things. We saw no such thing with Elder Scrolls 6. The trailer, or the teaser trailer, was just like this zoom in to a very, very rocky mountain, and then started to play, and then wow, Elder Scrolls 6, and people got really, really excited. But then we heard the news that they decided to work on Starfield and then move over to Elder Scrolls 6. And as we all know, that was a great move, right? It was really worth it with that, Starfield. They did a really good job with that game. So all these years that they could have been working on Elder Scrolls 6, or at least doing something, they decided to work on this game that ended up completely flopping, because then they decided to promise 1,000 planets, and then they ended up being like one hut or something, and then they made the very controversial tweet, oh, well, space exploration is exciting, so you should, it's a very exciting thing. Regardless, we're not talking about Starfield, we're talking about Elder Scrolls, we're talking about fantasy, medieval fantasy, and there's no fantasy to be found. None. I have seen absolutely nothing from this game. Not a thing. And, you'd think that they'd be doing it in the background or something, and I'm sure they are doing something in the background. We haven't heard anything from it. In fact, the only thing that I saw from Elder Scrolls 6 is that they took, I forgot her name, but she was an old lady. She was very, very famous for playing Skyrim, and so they decided to bring her into the studio and then make her into a character to kind of immortalize her in the game. That's nice. It doesn't really excuse everything else, though, because there's nothing from this game. All I heard was that I think they, too, wanted to switch engines or something like that, which is, again, understandable. What's not understandable is how long the wait is. In fact, I think right now, it's theorized that it's going to come out in 2027. There's no, firm date on that, but that's what people think. That's 10 years. 10 years from its original trailer. We're already at 6, so time's a ticking, and we're growing older. We can never get those years back, and there's still no Elder Scrolls. And it's their own fault. They dropped a whole load of nothing sandwich with a side of nothing gravy and nothing mashed potatoes, and we got excited. We started to dance like, yes, non-existent game, non-existent game, non-existent game. We fell for it because we are fools. We're fools that like product. And I spat all over my camera, and I'm sorry. I don't even know if this game exists. And yet we're still excited about it, or at least I still am I'm excited about it, but right now it's covered up by my boiling, untethered rage that is taking so long. Along with Hytale, and along with Subliminal. Because games keep doing this funny little thing, where they announce the game, they say, hey, this game's coming out, and then the game doesn't come out. So if you're making a game, if you want to put something out there to the world, you want to announce something, you want to announce this is a really fun game, wait. Wait until you actually have a game to announce. Wait until you're at a point in production where, you know, it can come out within, I think, a year or 2. 3, you're kind of pushing it. When you get to 6, you're just, as the Brits say, taking the piss. It's ridiculous. Why would you do that to us? But we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. If anything happens. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, if indeed you still are. My name is Brockster. I bid you all adieu.